The message came at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. I was half asleep, reaching for my phone to silence a notification, but then I read the first line and everything changed. Hi. You don't know me. My name is Jessica. I'm dating a man named Kyle who works with your wife. I think you need to see something. My wife, Michelle, worked in account management at a logistics company. She'd been putting in long hours for the past 8 months. Overtime, she called it. 3 nights a week, sometimes 4. She'd come home around midnight, tired, distracted, and go straight to bed. I never questioned it. The company was going through a major restructuring. Everyone was working extra hours. That's what she told me, and I believed her. I'm a logistics manager myself. Different company, similar industry. I understand deadlines. I understand pressure. I thought I understood my wife. My name is Michael. I'm 43 years old. And at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, a stranger named Jessica sent me a photo that destroyed everything I thought I knew. The photo showed Michelle and a man I didn't recognize sitting at a restaurant. They were close, too close. His hand was on hers. They were laughing. The timestamp was from the previous Thursday. A night Michelle said she was working late on a client presentation. Jessica's next message. His name is Kyle Patterson. He's been telling me he works late too. I drove by the office last week. Their cars weren't there, so I followed him. I stared at the photo for a long time. The lighting was dim. A wine bar, not a corporate office. I typed back, "When can we meet?" Her response was immediate. "Tomorrow. I'll send you an address." Jessica was 29, blonde, direct. We met at a coffee shop across town, nowhere near either of our workplaces or homes. She brought a folder. "I've been with Kyle for 2 years," she said. "We were supposed to move in together this month. Then I noticed things." She opened the folder. Inside were photos, receipts, location screenshots. "I put a tracker on his car," she admitted. "I know that sounds crazy, but I needed to know." I didn't judge her. I was grateful. The tracker told a clear story. 3 nights a week, Kyle's car drove not to the office, but to a neighborhood 15 minutes away. A quiet street. Always the same house. "That's your house," Jessica said. "Michelle's house," I corrected. The distinction already felt natural. They've been doing this for at least 6 months, maybe longer. I processed the information the way I process supply chain disruptions. Acknowledge the problem, gather data, plan a solution. "Kyle is her supervisor," Jessica added. "Not directly, but he leads her project team. The company has policies about that kind of thing." Of course they did. Every company did. "What do you want to do?" I asked. Jessica looked at me with something between anger and exhaustion. "I want them to know that we know. I want to see their faces when they realize they're not as clever as they think." I understood the impulse, but I also knew that confrontation without evidence was just noise. "I have a better idea," I said, "but it requires patience." "I've been patient for 6 months. I can do a few more weeks." I nodded. "Then let's do this right." Over the next 3 weeks, Jessica and I became an unlikely team. We divided responsibilities. She continued tracking Kyle's movements. I monitored Michelle's phone records and credit card statements, things I had legitimate access to as joint account holder. The pattern was consistent. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday night, both of them claimed to be working late. Every one of those nights their cars were parked at my house. While I was asleep upstairs, they were downstairs, or in the guest room. Or, I stopped thinking about the specifics. It didn't matter anymore. What mattered was documentation. I took screenshots of Michelle's texts, the ones she thought she'd deleted but forgot to erase from the cloud backup. Conversations with Kyle, plans, jokes at my expense. "He's so clueless," she wrote once. "Honestly, it's almost sad." I felt something when I read that. Not anger. I'd processed most of that already. More like confirmation. The woman I'd married 13 years ago was not the woman sleeping in my bed. I consulted a divorce attorney, quietly, discreetly. "Adultery with a workplace supervisor complicates things," she explained. "For the company, it's an HR violation. For your divorce, it strengthens your position significantly. I wasn't wealthy by most standards, but I wasn't poor either. My salary as regional logistics manager was $195,000 per year. I'd saved aggressively. I'd invested wisely. A small side business, consulting for smaller distributors, brought in an additional $40,000 annually. Michelle didn't know about this income. She'd never asked. Total assets, approximately $680,000. Most of it in accounts she'd never monitored. The house was in both our names, but I'd made the down payment from my savings before the marriage. With proper documentation, my attorney believed I'd retain most of the equity. 3 weeks into our surveillance, Jessica and I met again. "Friday night," she said. "Kyle told me he's working until midnight on a big proposal." Michelle said the same thing. Client deadline. "The company parking lot closes at 10. Security locks the gates." I understood immediately. "So, they'll have to leave through the side lot. The one with the security cameras." Jessica smiled grimly. "I already talked to a friend who works security there. He's going to give me the footage." "What do you want to do with it?" "I want to be there when they walk out. I want them to see us waiting." I considered the plan. It was dramatic, more dramatic than I usually preferred, but there was value in it. Not for revenge, but for clarity. "I'll be there," I said. "But we document everything. Photos with timestamps. Nothing that could be turned against us." "Agreed." "And afterwards, we go our separate ways. No drama, no confrontation beyond the initial moment. We let the lawyers and HR handle the rest." Jessica nodded. "I just want him to know that he didn't get away with it, that I'm not as stupid as he thinks." I understood that feeling perfectly. Friday night arrived. At 10:45 p.m., Jessica and I parked at the far end of the company parking lot, near the side exit. The main lot was empty. The office windows were dark. At 11:12 p.m., the side door opened. Kyle walked out first. He was laughing at something. Behind him, Michelle emerged, adjusting her hair. They didn't see us yet. They walked toward Kyle's car, which was parked in a corner under a broken light. Smart, discreet, but not discreet enough. I stepped out of my car first. Jessica followed. We walked toward them slowly. No rushing, no shouting. Kyle saw us first. He stopped mid-step. The smile faded from his face. "Michael?" Michelle turned. Her expression cycled through recognition, confusion, and then something that looked like calculation. Even now she was thinking about how to spin this. "What are you doing here?" she asked. Her voice was controlled, but I heard the tremble underneath. "Waiting for you," I said. "You said you were working late. I thought I'd surprise you." Jessica stepped forward. "Same here. I wanted to bring Kyle some coffee, but the security guard said you two left 3 hours ago." Kyle tried to recover. "This isn't, we were just—" "Save it." Jessica held up her phone. "I have location data from the past 6 months. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. His car at your house, Michael." Michelle's face went pale. "You were tracking—" "Don't." I kept my voice calm. "Don't act offended. You don't have the right." I pulled out my own phone, showed her the screenshots, the messages she thought she'd deleted, the plans, the jokes at my expense. "He's so clueless," I read aloud. "Honestly, it's almost sad." Michelle was silent. Kyle stepped forward. "Listen, we can all talk about this like adults." "We are talking like adults," I said. "The difference is that we have documentation and you have excuses." Jessica jumped in. "Kyle, I'm done. Don't come back to the apartment. Your stuff will be in boxes on the sidewalk tomorrow morning." "Jessica, please." "And Michael's attorney will be sending papers to Michelle on Monday, along with a formal HR complaint about your workplace relationship." Kyle's face changed. The charm evaporated. "You can't. That would cost me my job." "It should," I said. "Supervisors aren't supposed to sleep with their direct reports. Company policy, page 14 of the employee handbook. She's not my direct, she's on your project team. Close enough." Michelle finally spoke again. "Michael, can we just go home and talk about this?" "There's nothing to talk about. You made your choices. These are the consequences." I pulled out a small camera from my jacket. "I've been recording this conversation, by the way. Time-stamped, clear audio, just in case you were thinking about denying anything later." The color drained from both their faces. Jessica and I walked back to our cars. Behind us, I heard raised voices. Kyle blaming Michelle, Michelle blaming Kyle. The classic implosion. We didn't look back. At our cars, Jessica paused. What now? Now we file the paperwork. Let the systems do their work. You're very calm about all this. I've had 3 weeks to process it. The anger passed. What's left is just resolution. She nodded. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. About your marriage. I'm sorry about your relationship. Thanks. She smiled slightly. Maybe I'll see you around sometime. Under better circumstances. Maybe. We got in our separate cars and drove away in different directions. The divorce was finalized in 4 months. With documented adultery and the HR complaint providing additional pressure, Michelle's negotiating position was weak. She received her fair share of marital assets, nothing more. The house equity was split according to original contribution, which favored me significantly. Kyle lost his job. The company took the complaint seriously, especially after other employees came forward with stories about his mentoring style with junior staff. A pattern, apparently. Last I heard, he was working at a smaller firm in another city. Michelle moved there too. I don't know if they're still together. I don't particularly care. Jessica and I stayed in touch for a while. Coffee every few weeks. 2 people who'd gone through something strange together and needed occasional reminders that they'd done the right thing. Eventually, we drifted apart. That was fine. Some connections are situational. I bought Michelle's half of the house, then sold it 6 months later. Too many memories of coming home to lies. I found an apartment closer to work. Modern, efficient. The kind of space that doesn't demand much from you. I cook simple meals in the evenings. I read books I'd been meaning to read for years. I go to the gym 3 mornings a week. I sleep well. My sister asked me recently if I regret how I handled it. The parking lot confrontation, the recording, the HR complaint. I thought about the question for a long time. No, I said finally. I don't regret it. Why not? Because I did it calmly. I didn't yell or threaten or beg. I just showed them the truth and let the consequences happen. She nodded. That's very you. It is. I'm not looking for drama. I never was. I just wanted honesty. And when I couldn't get it from my marriage, I found it for myself.